Welcome back to the Humble Market Timer YouTube channel. If you enjoy the content, please like, comment, and subscribe. Today's video will be on silver. It's like watching paint dry, but man, these charts are bullish. Before I go any further, let me show you my disclaimer. Again, these are just my ideas, not investment advice. Now, silver has been one of those commodities that's really been a head scratcher. People just haven't been able to figure out why silver hasn't been able to do what gold has done. Gold has skyrocketed higher because of inflation and all the uncertainty. And for many years, gold and silver were both industrial metals as well as store valued metals. Gold has taken more of a stronghold of being a store value metal. And as a result, many people have flocked to gold as a means of being that safe haven for inflation and wild monetary policy. Silver has sort of been relegated, though, to being only just an industrial metal. And as a result, I don't believe it has taken off like gold has. Now, silver is considered to be, well, gold is about 19 times rarer than silver. So really, silver should pretty much be at a ratio of about 19 or 20 to 1, in my opinion, in regards to pricing when it comes to gold. But it hasn't been that way. Here's a image that someone put up. It's kind of comical, but basically it shows the gold to silver ratio throughout history. And as you can see, back in the BC days, the gold to silver ratio was 1 to 3. So it was actually pretty close. And it's really, as time progressed, it's expanded some, but it hasn't been this wide, cavernous distance between one versus the other. But as you can see, this is a kind of an old image. In 2024, the ratio was 1 to 91. And as of right now, in 2025, the ratio is about 1 to 100. So as you can see, that gap in the price of gold and silver has widened. But many believe that at some point, that gap will diminish to some degree. And with the rarity of gold to silver being what it is, really 1 to 20 is really the max it should be, in my opinion. But looking at a chart of silver, you can see that the charts are just extremely bullish. This is a very long-term view of silver. This chart is dating all the way back to the 1970s. But as you can see here, we have a very distinguishable cup formation and then handle. This is one of the most bullish formations that we have in technical analysis when it comes to charting of stocks and commodities and things of that nature. Typically, once stocks come out of this cup and then you have that handle, the stock tends, or a commodity or whatever the security is or asset, tends to explode higher out of that handle. So you can be on the lookout just looking at silver from a wide scope, a long, wide range, that the pattern is extremely bullish. And it's just been slow moving. Here's another view of the silver chart. and it's a narrower view from a time frame standpoint. This is more from 2000 to currently, so it's more of a 25-year time frame. And as you can see, it's still very bullish. You have another cup and handle formation that you can see that it's kind of breaking out of. So that's one bullish pattern that you're showing here. Just back from 2020 until 2024, you see here, you had a nice inverse head and shoulder pattern, and we broke out of that inverse head and shoulder pattern. And if you do the measured move, you get the measured move from the lowest point of the head to the neckline. And as you can see, we pretty much hit the target for that inverse head and shoulder pattern. So that was one bullish move. But there's also another bigger inverse head and shoulder pattern, and I have the neckline drawn here. And if we measure out that move, again from the neckline to the deepest point of the head, and there you go, and then you move that line to the area where it broke out, and it gives you a price target in that 46 to 48 range, possibly going all the way to 50. But that gives you, just from the inverse head and shoulders target, a breakout point of where the price could go. We could go potentially much higher than that. Again, if we get back to that 19-to-1 ratio that we have, that should take place from a standpoint of the rarity of silver to gold. I think also there's going to be a push in the very near future, because the price of gold has exploded so high. People are going to be looking for alternatives to gold. Silver has always been the closest precious metal to gold from a standpoint of its use as a store value and its use for industrial purposes. I believe it's just going to be a matter of time before that happens. I mentioned in my last video how platinum was also lagging gold significantly, and it has recently started to make a huge move higher. And I think with time, you will see that gold will also be making a similar move, and you will be hitting that 40 to 50 range and potentially much higher. Be on the lookout for that. Hope you liked the video. Once again, if you like the content, please like, comment, and subscribe. Hope you have a good day. See you next video.